All rise, please. Commissioner Tony Cheney, will you lead us in prayer?
I'm going to start off in Navajo. Kodoha Jondo le Diani Cotton Lini, Asana Tlehen Hima. We pray for ourselves, our health, and our families. We pray for those who serve our citizens, keeping them safe, like our law enforcement, our EMTs, emergency management, fire departments, and the volunteers, and our medical personnel. We pray for our leaders, tribal, local, state, and national. We are Americans, one nation, and may we celebrate the 4th of July united, safe, and enjoy with family and friends. Amen.
Amen. Commissioner Fortner, will you lead us?
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you both. All right. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, we do not have any changes to tonight's agenda as presented.
All right. I'll seek a motion.
Motion to approve the agenda for June 27th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. Consent agenda. Number 1, consideration of approval of regular meeting minutes from June 6th, 2023. Number 2, consideration of FY23 budget adjustment number 18, resolution number 222369. Number 3, consideration for renewal of bid number 212225, price agreement for the purchase of asphalt emulsions and associated products from Holly Frontier Refining and Marketing LLC of Albuquerque. Number 4, consideration of renewal of proposal number 19-2022, major medical aggregate and specific stop loss insurance to Sun Life Financial of Scottsdale, Arizona. Number 5, consideration for renewal of proposal number 19-2021, employee health benefits program administration, major medical to Tall Tree Administrator of Draper, Utah. Number 6, consideration for request to serve as physical agent to apply for the Community DWI CDWI Prevention Grant. And number 7, award of proposal number 222331, medical direction for fire and rescue service to EMS Docs LLC from Farmington, New Mexico. And that's it.
Motion to approve the 7 consent agenda items.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, motion will carry. All right, new business. Consideration of application for variance from San Juan County Cannabis Regulation Ordinance 120. Michelle Truby, tell it.
And Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I like to read this statement every time we have
Yes, sir.
a consideration of an application for variance. And the statement is directed more to the public to explain the process the commission will go through in considering the variance. When the commission considers this item, they will be asking few, if any, questions to the applicant. The reason for this is that the hearing on this issue has already been conducted by a hearing officer, in this case on June 7th. If the commission were to ask a lot of questions and to reconduct parts of the hearing tonight at this meeting, it would violate the due process rights of parties who did not have notice that a new hearing would be conducted. Instead, the commission will be relying on the evidence gathered by the hearing officer at the cannabis variance hearing to make their decision. They have also been able to consider comments they have individually received from constituents.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Apaca Loco Farms submitted a variance petition application to the Community Development Department on May 16th, 2023, seeking a variance from Section 3A of Ordinance Number 120, the minimum separation distance from a residence requirement. Apaca Loco Farms wishes to start an indoor cannabis grow operation in a structure located at a residence 13 Road 2621. The actual address of the location is 13A Road 2621. The proposed producer microbusiness is within 300 feet of two residences measuring 122 feet and 262 feet. Applicant is seeking a variance to last the life of the business at this location. Public hearing was held before hearing officer Chester Miller III on June 7th, 2023. The requested variance was not opposed by any neighbors at the hearing, nor were any negative comments received by the Community Development Department. Hearing officer Miller has submitted written findings and conclusions and recommends the request for variance be granted. Staff is requesting a decision, I think. Didn't usually says that.
All right. I don't have any questions.
And, Mr. Chair, I guess it looks like there was no neighbors that were opposed to this. And it wasn't near a school, a church, or a daycare, anything like that.
No.
So,
No.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance requests.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, motion will carry. Thank you very much. Consideration of Second Amendment to the Intergovernmental Agreement for Sobering Center and Joint Intervention Program Service. And I do not see Miss Lisa.
I do not, Mr. Chair. I could certainly handle that matter, though, if you'd
Okay.
like. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. In 2016, San Juan County, the City of Farmington, and San Juan Regional Medical Center entered into an intergovernmental agreement to provide behavioral health services via the Sobering Center and the Joint Intervention Program. San Juan Regional Medical Center is the fiscal agent for the contract and has been chosen to contract with Presbyterian Medical Services. PMS has been operating this alternative program for recovery services to the street and inebriate population, as mentioned, since 2016. The program also encompasses a 40-bed sobering center facility combined with a 40-bed joint intervention program. San Juan County staff recently met with the partner agencies, City of Farmington, San Juan Regional Medical Center, and of course us, in reviewing the total program operating costs and funding percentages of each of the entities. It's a fixed fee contract that we have today, and it's been in place now for 3 years, I believe, since the last amendment. Previously, we were at 1.594 million, and PMS has requested a very reasonable increase in these inflationary times of 2.5% to modify the contract to 1.634 million and change. In addition, we discussed with the San Juan Regional CEO, there had been discussion about them not participating. At one time, they wanted to look at it maybe withdrawing from the partnership because of costs. And so one of the things we thought might make sense, and Mr. Rounds, the new CEO, was agreeable to, is if we take the program costs and split them a third, and a third, county, City of Farmington, and San Juan Regional Medical Center, that would reduce the contribution that San Juan Regional would have to make. Approximately, it'd be, all the entities splitting the $1.6 million number equally. And we have the benefit of being able to utilize the opioid settlement dollars to assist with funding of this, as you had previously directed staff to divert those dollars from and not utilizing HCAP dollars in full. There still may need to be some contribution of healthcare assistance program dollars, but try to utilize as much of the opioid settlement dollars as possible to cover these services. So we do have Miss Christine Carlson, we Rito here. I was sorry about that. Screw up your last name, but if you had any direct questions for her about, services and numbers, et cetera, about the program. But this is simply to the Second Amendment to the IGA is to simply modify the operating costs to reflect that increase as well as the percentage split, sharing that equally across all three entities. So I can stay out for any questions you might have.
The only one I have is the increase is only 2.5%.
Correct.
In today's world, that's not very much. Why does it seem to be lower than everything else we see?
Mr. Chairman, I might have Christine come up if you don't mind. And I think one of the things that I can share with you is they work really hard to minimize their costs and make sure that this service continues and that they don't see, exponential increases in costs. And so I'll turn it over to her, though, for
Thank
more detailed response.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. And I appreciate you letting me address that. So we've been looking at other funding sources for the pieces where we can. We've made a huge concerted effort to keep costs down. We've been able to combine some positions. So we've been working very hard at not having to ask for an increase.
Yeah, when I seen that 2.5%, I was just a little surprised, so kudos to you guys for keeping that down and saving some money.
But thank you. Yeah, we're trying to always look at how can we bill around, are there services we can bill for? What can we pick up over here? Really, we always look at you as a payer of last resort. We don't want to tax you more than I know we already do. We appreciate the support that we've had over the years, so.
Thank you.
I,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. It says there's a 40 bed. What's the average, say monthly of use for that?
So I can't answer that direct. That's a good question. I can tell you, so we have for Paul's Place, so it's 3 different facilities. For Paul's Place, we have 45 beds. We are consistently at capacity there. For the Sobering Center, we have 40 beds. With the expansion, that added an additional 44. And what we do is if we're full on one end and not full on the other, we move the beds around. That's part of why we have the boat beds. So to date, we haven't been at max capacity yet. We've been close on 2 occasions. And we have a backup plan so that we can move people actually into our outpatient building overnight if needed.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you that with the expanded services that you've helped us provide with the expansion, we did have over 2,000 admissions during the seasons that normally we would not have been able to provide services over the summer.
Nice.
Mr. Chair, I guess I just have one question. And I'm just a matter of curiosity. So how does Centacor participate with this process also?
So that's a good question. Centacor has a medical detox, which is very different than what we offer. So we are able to use them as a referral source.
Okay, referral. Okay.
And we also refer to their residential program and they refer to us for outpatient services.
Okay.
So we do have an MOU with them and a decent working relationship.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner McDaniels? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stark.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I think this is wonderful that the county, the city of Farmington, and the San Juan Regional Medical Center have an agreement and work together. So with that, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the amendment for the Sobering Center and the Joint Intervention Program.
I'll second that.
All right, any other comments? I just want to say one thing. I think it's amazing how the 3 different entities are working together financially and stuff, so. All right, with that being said, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. Got it. All right, number 3,
Yes.
report for inspection of detention center.
Thank you.
First
Mr. Chair.
building is.
No, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is just the beginning of me starting to nag you about visiting the detention center.
But I just did that.
I know. Well, I always start reminding you early, so. According, pursuant to section 33-3-4, inspection of jails and detention centers, the governing body shall conduct an annual site visit to inspect the overall conditions at the detention facility and present an inspection report at a regular meeting of the governing body. Last report was submitted on August 16th, 2022. So if at your leisure, you're able to visit the jail, we'll prepare the inspection report and submit that for this year. So not a big hurry, but I just thought I'd start reminding you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm sure you'll be reminding us more.
When is it due by?
It's an annual report. So I don't think there's a set deadline, but I could look into that and make sure.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Sawyer? Number 4, consideration of electing membership into the State Employee Medical Fund Plan. Ms. Melissa Wood.
Hello, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Can everybody hear me okay? Reach the microphone. So yeah, we're here to, you guys kind of made a decision on this during the May budget meeting. It was a proposal that we presented. After we made the initial jump and presented to everybody, HB2 had passed through legislation, which had allocated amounts to anybody that was on the existing plan design for claims experience that they had throughout that previous 2 years. And as we got to reviewing it and talking to the risk management division, who oversees adding on as a local public body to the state, we asked lots of questions about what does this mean going forward and what does this look like? And we found out that this is being litigated at the moment. And it is not something that we would be assessed as a new attendee onto the plan. We have that in writing that we would not be assessed any past dollars that would accrue. Also, the premiums that we had shared are staying flat for FY24 because that was vetoed in the legislation by the governor. And then we know that there is some potential for increased premiums, but we believe that they wouldn't be nearly as significant to put us back up to where we currently are in our existing plan design. So what we're asking today is kind of two-prong. There's 2 avenues we could take. One is to continue forward, moving into the state plan. We have to give them an answer. They've already accepted us. We did reach out and ask for them if we could come on to the plan, and that's part of the process. Now is for us to accept that invitation or not. So we know we can make that move. We have to give them a definite by July 1st. And we would move forward with implementing everything through their third-party administrator, which is ERISA. And we would do open enrollment at the end of the year through October, November, and it would be effective January 1 as it is existing. Or I did do some research into what it could look like if we did not make this move. And as I presented to you, there was copay changes, deductible changes, things like that, what kind of savings we could get if we changed copay similar to what the state already has implemented. It's not the amount that we would need to bridge the gap by any means. There would still be a subsidy that would have to come from the general fund at your guys' discretion and approval if that was made available. Currently, the anticipated need, should we continue on our existing plan design without changes, would be $3 million as a subsidy to keep the plan as is. If we implemented some of these changes, higher copays, higher deductibles, we could potentially save roughly about $500,000 in the year with copay changes and deductible. We wouldn't want to change the premium because that's already basically set as high as we can go with the affordability limitations. So at this point, it's up to you and how you would like me to move forward. And I stand for any questions that you may have. Anything you'd like to add, Mike?
No, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Wood, no, I think you've covered it well.
Thank you.
The only question I have you had any more employee comments since the last time we
Mr.
Scott?
Chair, nobody has, the only positive, I've gotten positive, is we look forward to joining. We like the idea of additional options. The HSA is something people are looking forward to, or FSA, the flexible spending account that they offer through the state. So the pharmacy benefit manager has been another thing that people are excited to have a new joint access to. So it's all been positive remarks that I've received. I've not had any negative, but not a whole lot of comments since we stopped asking.
Mr. Chairman, I would add, the reason we brought this item to you tonight is obviously given the July 1st deadline that we have. And given after you all made the decision to move forward at our May 23rd commission meeting, the state surprised everyone with an assessment that's previously or currently in the plan today. And so needless to say, that was a hot topic of discussion last week when we hosted, or 2 weeks ago, the New Mexico County Summer Conference, and some of the cities and municipalities and counties that have been caught off guard by that. This is a big decision for San Juan County and our employees, and this is an important benefit. I would probably argue the most important benefit to our employees that come to work here, to have access to an affordable, robust medical plan. So we just wanted to make certain, given some of the swirling discussions with the Municipal League and New Mexico Association of Counties, that this was the right decision to move forward. I did have the chance to reach out to a couple different legislators on Friday, as well as our legislative liaison, Mr. Scanlon, had a meeting with the governor's chief of staff. Of course, no set direction on which way the state's going to go, but it sounds like they're certainly looking to solve this shortfall. Not certain if it covers the assessments that they've sent out to the local entities, but we have it in writing that we're not obligated for any of those past liabilities. So we're starting in the plan fresh January 1st. And as Ms. Wood indicated, we're also starting with no premium increase come FY24. Now, obviously, that's by no means going to be the case for future years to come. But when you look at the difference in the plans, if we make this move, in the worst of situations, depending upon the plan that's chosen for employees, they're saving 40% in premiums today. As we've discussed with you previously, the difference between our plan and the different state plan options, and can save even more depending upon what they choose. So even if the state were to look at it changing premiums, what I was told on Friday is it would more than likely be a situation like para, where the state had to fix para. They did it a 0.5% employee, 0.5% employer over the course of 4 years. That more than likely there's going to be some type of lump sum fix, and more than likely some type of premium increase over a set number of years. So in reviewing all of the data we previously accumulated, plus hearing that, certainly our recommendation from staff would be that it would be prudent for us to move forward. Just the costs of being self-funded, as you know, have been enormous over the last 3 years, and to go from 400,000 to 900,000 to, we budgeted 1.6, looking closer to finish the year at 2 million, and then next year, based on experience, closer to a $3 million shortfall, as Ms. Martin analyzed. The savings to the employees, the savings to the county, it just makes sense. But we didn't want to presume anything because of the swirling uncertainty that's all of a sudden hit in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So just wanted to make sure that this was the decision you still felt comfortable with and wanted to move forward with.
Mr. Chair? Yes, sir.
Is there any indication of what they're gonna, or what the pulse is for the premium increase moving forward? Since it got vetoed?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Beck said, I actually have asked that question specifically, if we could get an idea. I even gave some ballpark, 5-10%. And the answer I got was, we do not know. That'll be talked about at the next legislation.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Beckstead, did have the opportunity to speak with a former GSD employee during the Mexico County Summer Conference, and apparently they were looking at the assessment plus a 16% premium increase over the course of 2 years. And that would be enough to help cover the shortfall that the state plan's currently in. So there again, you know, let's just say it's a 40%, that's 32%, but let's just say it's even higher, it's 40%. What I've heard is it may be a little longer period than the 2 years. So that's not as dramatic of an impact on employees and the employer. Is similar to what they did with para. So of course, as Ms. Wood accurately represented, we don't have the crystal ball. Our legislators are not in session currently, and there's no legislation actively being pursued. But I was also told that, you know, legislators indicated, hey, we're on this plan too. Not all of us, but some of us, and we have a vested interest in seeing this plan continue and be solvent. So, you know, I think that that the state's going to look to fix this because it's just there's what 57,000 lives across 140 entities in this across the state. You know, 24 counties, 23 cities, 39 towns and villages, 6 colleges and schools, 12 special districts, 24 authorities and co-ops. There's a lot of folks that are covered by the state plan. I just can't imagine where the state with record-breaking revenues would not want to take action to solve this problem. And of course, the concern from our end is, are we going to be subject to that in an adverse way? And we don't know the answer, but we feel like what we've heard the last week puts us a little more at ease relative to that decision.
Ms. Tolentini?
I guess this is just like a comment. I know I had friends who work for BHP, APS. Gosh, their medical stuff was excellent, but they're a corporation. This is government. And, but everybody needs, medical care. And, you know, and so do you. If you're single, it's different. If you have a spouse and children, and everybody worries about premiums. But I think with the state, they want to help you know, the workers. And I see that what our employees like is that they have options.
Yes.
And so I think that it's good. And I know we got the deadline on July 1st, right? So I guess with that, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and I don't know how to put my motion, that we just
Approve
with it.
electing membership.
with the membership in the state employee medical fund plan.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any? Motion will carry.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. All right. Report from the county manager.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Rebecca will be happy there. So I'll be brief tonight because I know we have a long closed session ahead of us. But first off, this is our first meeting post New Mexico County Summer Conference. And I know you all had the opportunity to attend a variety of different functions and events. And I think it went very well. Great show that was put on to our guests that are coming from across the state. And I just want to thank all the folks that made that happen. Our conference committee, led by Ms. Martin, and all the folks that were part of that effort, about 50 volunteers in total. And couldn't have done it without them. It was a complete team effort. We recently had a little appreciation pizza party for everyone last week. And I just want to say thank you again. And I know you all were very appreciative of their efforts. The blue shirts, as Mr. Chairman kept referring to them as the ones who, if you need something, go see a blue shirt. So Some other meetings that we have, or had, last week, we had our 2 freight rail meetings, trying to gather more input from our citizens, specifically working to the southern part of the project study area. So we had Newcomb, we had about 30 in attendance there. Commissioner McDaniel, Commissioner Totocini both made that meeting. And then at Crown Point the following night, we had approximately 18 that attended that meeting. So good input. We were asking specifically for input on prospective routes, and the consulting engineer had delivered or designed some basically 5 routes for citizens to give us input on, and then talk about the different import and export opportunities, making sure we didn't miss any in terms of industries that might benefit from freight rail or products that our area could use that would be helpful in reducing transportation costs, et cetera. So productive meetings, and we're, obviously continue forward with the project. As mentioned before, we're hoping to have that feasibility study completed by early first quarter of next year, January, February. We have it's our annual time of the year for our infrastructure capital improvement plan. So in front of you is the plan approved by the commission last year. And so, Mr. Porter Smith, he's not here. Oh, there he is. He's hiding behind the monitors. He's organizing this year's effort. We were at the Lower Valley Senior Center yesterday for lunch and met with the seniors and the folks in the western part of the county. Tomorrow night, right here in this room, we're going to have a second meeting at 5:30 to gather input from citizens on this list. And of course, if you have any suggestions, we shared this with our department heads and elected officials this morning. This is the list that we use to submit not only to the state, but also gets used for, is required by the state, but also gets used for legislative requests, as you all know, from year to year, and trying to prioritize the most important capital projects in San Juan County. So we definitely have some changes because we've had some projects funded. So for example, the McGee Park poultry and rabbit barn improvements, as well as the outdoor riding arena improvements, that was funded by our legislature last year through capital outlay. So we'll make those adjustments accordingly, gather the input from citizens at these 2 meetings, any input you all have, or department heads, elected officials, and then I'll be bringing that to you sometime either the end of July or the first part of August. 5 Mile Bridge, we have a meeting tomorrow night at the Sullivan Road Fire Station.
Thursday night.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Commissioner. Thursday night at, because we're going to be here for an ICIP meeting tomorrow night. Thursday night, we're going to do that from 6 to 8. And the same presentation that we gave you, a little modified, a little shortened, condensed version, we'll provide to the citizens there and review the alternatives for providing improvements to the transportation infrastructure within the area as a result of the bridge being closed. So just wanted to make sure you were all aware of that meeting. And in July, just a reminder, because of the 4th of July holiday, we only have 1 commission meeting in July, and that's July 25th. So just want to make sure you all were all aware of that. Of course, if we had something come up that we needed to schedule a special meeting, we would certainly coordinate with you on that. And last but not least, I hope you all have a happy Independence Day. And I do know that Chief Vega was gonna, are you, Mr. Messish, you ready to cover that item? Okay, why don't you come on up, because that's an important item to cover. If you would all allow me to defer to Mike, that'd be great.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Allow me to step in for Chief Vega. He's currently out on a large fire in the Lee Acres area in the Wild Horse Valley. We actually got a shelter being opened at McGee Park right now. Evacuations are ongoing. And of course, the fires have been a pickup in the last couple of days and the last week. In fact, right now, he wanted me to report also that there's a small forest fire north of the county line in Colorado near Navajo Dam. There's one on the Colorado side and also one on the New Mexico side. So they're dealing with that as well. So Mr. Stark, if he'll help me out with this. In addition, he wanted to come before you this evening. And he wanted to let you know that in addition to the energy release compact has hit 90%, at the 90% percentile. And that factor has been a trigger point for him for fire restrictions. As the fire chief, he has the authority to use the International Fire Code to implement fire restrictions for open burning based on atmospheric conditions. So he wants to do that for San Juan County. He has contacted Mr. Stark and informed him of that. Do you want to comment any
Sure.
further on that, Mr. Stark?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mestis, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Chief Vega would like to institute a ban on all burn permits, a temporary one. Because of the dramatic changes we've seen with fire conditions here in San Juan County. Over 100 calls for service this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 13 different fires that they were reported to and responded. Last night alone, they had, I don't remember the exact
Yeah,
number, but
7 to 11 lightning strikes, and they were out since 4 o'clock this morning.
so he's very concerned about where we stand with fire conditions. This burn permit ban would not affect fireworks. It would not affect, recreational use of campfires, oil and
Fire
gas
pits,
activities from
charcoal
flaring.
grills.
Yeah, none of that would be impacted. It would just strictly be that we would not allow open burning, which we do today by permit. Obviously, today would not be a day by which we're providing such permits. So that is his, and of course administratively has the authority to do that, and wanted to present that to you all tonight to have that go into effect tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
That was pretty much what he
Yeah.
asked to step in for.
Any questions regarding that? We think it's a very proactive and wise move, given the conditions we're seeing, and no real relief in sight, both in temperatures and or winds.
Looking at the window behind you.
Windy.
All right, well, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Stark. That's it for you?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Reports from elected officials and department heads. This one?
Mr. Chair, I have one. I'm on the MPO, the planning, the policy committee. And what's coming up is, I guess the US Census Bureau releases new maps and population counts for urbanized areas throughout the US. In 2020, the census was used to determine urbanized areas based primarily on housing unit density, not population density. And there's a proposed map. And this was alternative 1, alternative 2, but we're looking at alternative 3, adding more. Eventually, it'll cover all of San Juan County. But this is the one that MPO is going for. So that's just the one change that gonna be coming up.
Good. Thank you.
And what's great is the funding that they apply for, and then we can get all the trails and the roads all worked on, so.
All right, thank you. Comments and input from the general public. Comments are accepted in person, limited to 3 minutes, and to subject the commission has not previously discussed or formal action has not been taken. No formal action will be taken at this meeting that relates to the comments or input from the general public. Do you have anyone like to speak? Not hearing any? All right, so next would be the closed session.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we go into closed session to discuss limited personnel matters pursuant to section 1015(1)(h)(2) and pending litigation in which the county is a participant pursuant to 1015(1)(h)(7).
I'll
Yeah.
second that.
And
Last part.
yeah, if you could also read the second part regarding recording. I'm sorry.
While the commission is in closed session, we will end the live stream. And after the closed session, commission will again go into open session and adjourn, but no business will be discussed. The adjournment will not be streamed.
All
I'll
right,
second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. We'll recess for 2 minutes. Well, I always say 5 and you guys take 10.
Do you remember what the business?
I thought
facility
2, maybe I get 5.
cost was gonna be?
60,000.
Oh, 60,000. Okay.